All right, welcome back to a rather raucous edition of Flashpoint. All right, Larry, got a question for you.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, following politics as my family did, and the Pat Buchanans of the world and others talking about American exceptionalism and America inherently being better than other countries and leading the way when it came to other countries in any variety number of things. Mm-hmm. It seems like to me, though, when you specifically the tariff situation you just talked to, but it could be talked about in many other ways. Our current Republican president, same party, sort of makes it much more tit for tat. It's not, oh, we're much better, so we need to be leading the way when it comes to these things. And, you know, being a leader in the global stage means that we sacrifice in certain ways that other countries can't do what we do because inherently we are the best country in the world. It doesn't sound like the president takes that sort of stance when it comes to these issues. It's more like, hey, if you do this, then we do this. If we do this, then you can't do this. It doesn't seem to be like, hey, we are the leader, therefore we're going to take on the responsibilities that come with it.
Well, I'm going to be, and that would make perfect sense if our economy had been, before he became president, if our economy had been in any state to be a world leader, if our entire system had been in any state to be a world leader. Let's be blunt here. From 2000 and let's see, here in North Carolina, let's talk about a perfect example, shall we?
I mean, the economy started coming back
this
years ago.
4% quarterly growth rate
let's talk about why he needs to do what he does. Okay. Because there were previous presidents who made deals that were not good for us. I'm going to go on record. You know what? NAFTA, as it currently existed, shouldn't have existed, because I'm going to tell you what happened with NAFTA. American manufacturing lost. Yes, we may have done well with service and retail centers and everything, but you know what the most long-term sustainable indicator of economic power is? Industrial manufacturing. And we were willing to take those industrial manufacturing powerhouses right here in North Carolina and ship them over to China for cheaper goods. That was not a good deal for America. It wasn't. And what President Trump is actually doing, I'm not saying he's doing it in the most eloquent way, but what he's doing is trying to force the economy to get back to an understanding of manufacturing and industrial has to come back.
It reminds me of the same thing with the Paris Climate Accord is that, you know, people criticize America because we were being not held to the same standard as some of the other countries like China. And I go back to the same argument by Pat Buchanan 30 years ago. Well, if we are supposed to be exceptionally better than other countries, then shouldn't we be leading the way? We're not China, we're not Russia, we're not Brazil, we're not the, we should be better.
We should, and with being like the last remaining superpower in the world, like it comes with a level of moral authority.
Oh gosh, don't lecture me on moral authority when we in Charlotte have an economic environment that is 50th out of 50th in economic mobility.
Oh, we will get to climate change
when China is able to make products cheaper and less expensive because of our regulatory environment.
And I'm not saying we don't jump in and work on those human rights issues to make sure we get a fair shake. Just blindly putting tariffs on, like, there's no economic analysis behind that. He's picking nice big round numbers and threw them out there. Like it's not what's healthy for our economy, and it's not how to go about international trade negotiations. Like, these things are very complicated.
So you're saying the way we've done economic trade negotiations to date has worked for us?
I'm not saying it's the best win-win scenario as possible, but again, NAFTA, when we're talking about American manufacturing, listen, the economy is changing. And our economy is changing, and we got a lot of increasing great industries from NAFTA. And sure, our manufacturing lost out, and so there are ways we can improve upon that. But simply throwing it out the window and starting from scratch, that's not the way to do it. These things happen on a piece-by-piece basis. You can't just go in with a chainsaw and start whacking. It's a scalpel type.
Yes, but don't you understand how angry a vast majority of Americans are over the fact that their communities have died, their jobs have disappeared, the opportunities for the middle class. You want to talk about the growth of the middle class? The middle class was destroyed by Bill Clinton and NAFTA and trade deals that took our industries and our economy and our manufacturing out of this country. Democrats did that.
I disagree.
Democrats did that.
Our middle class has been wiped out in the sense that it's shrunk because we have lost focus on investing in our education and investing in our people.
But we are investing in education. But here's in North Carolina, we're investing the 11th best in the country.
39 best in the country.
See, now they have to use per people in spending because you can't talk about your increases.
Stop. On the same topic, though, a new study from the Bureau of Economic Analysis report shows that North Carolina is among the top 20 states with the highest GDP increase. North Carolina had 2.1 increase in real GDP from the fourth quarter of 2017 to last year, or this year. The state's real GDP by industry clocked positive % gains in all but 3 sectors: agriculture, mining, utilities. South Carolina not too far behind with a growth of 1.9%. Wes, you can't argue with the fact that the state as a whole, Charlotte too, the state as a whole has been doing quite well economically, and it's done so with Republicans and Raleigh at the helm.
I agree. The state economy has been doing well, but we have to understand that the history of our economic success did not begin in 2010.
Yeah,
no, it did not.
Oh,
North
yeah,
Carolina was well prepared because we were the first state in the Southeast to really start investing in our people. Again,
we've seen a large uptick in the last few years.
We have, and on the surface, tax cuts help. But if you look at the underlying fundamentals of the economy, like you said before, we are 50 out of 50 in economic mobility.
In Charlotte.
But
that's because Charlotte refuses to repeal regulations that keep businesses from
the economic driver of the entire state.
No.
One of the key economic drivers. And let me finish here. And we're also 39th in per pupil spending in education. Those are the fundamentals that are going to drive us. We're growing because we are attracting a lot of businesses, but we're importing our talent. We're not home growing our talent. It's the equivalent of using free agency to build one Super Bowl winning team. I want to do it through the draft. I want to build our people from the ground up, because at the end of the day, after our property values rise and companies aren't going to come here because the land is cheap and the taxes are low, it's our people. So our people are what's going to sell us.
I think it's awesome that North Carolina is consistently rated at the top for business and attracting businesses and being a business-friendly environment. I think that's awesome. Good for us. Good for Charlotte as well. I think it's unfortunate, though, when it comes to some of those education numbers.
But hold on. That education number is completely misleading. It is completely misleading
because that, or you take teacher pay.
Well, teacher pay is raised by the second largest factor in this country.
If teacher pay was raising so much, why is teacher enrollment down 25% in our schools? Why are we?
Could it be because maybe the county of Mecklenburg County refuses to invest in schools around the county?
Listen, my mom was a lifelong public school teacher. My sister was a lifelong public school teacher.
School buildings are constructed using county funds.
I had your back for a second.
Well, school funding at the end of the day is a mixture of three different sectors. For anyone to say that the state has whole responsibility is wrong. Mecklenburg County provides for a large and vast portion, and it also provides for capital growth.
I'm simply saying, and you cannot disagree with the fact, if we're doing so well from a business standpoint, it'd be great if everything was doing so well as far as those numbers go.
Our graduation rates are at the highest they've ever been. I'm sorry. Where's their
graduation? I'm not talking graduation.
Where's their problem?
I'm talking about
we're having more enrollment. We're having more jobs. We're having more
teachers. Teachers in the audience, tweet him, email him.
No. I want to talk about the teachers. We had the WCCB.
Dude, we have no time. We talked. All right, we're done. More Flashpoint after this.